When Afia and her older sister Abner were young, they migrated from Ghana to the UK with their parents, and they grew up in a traditional household where mental health wasn't acknowledged or talked about. So when Abner fell ill, it was a shock. Afia and her sister had always been close, and Afia, being younger, had always looked up to Abner and wanted to follow in her older sister's footsteps. So it wasn't until her sister fell ill that things changed. Afia was finding it very hard to engage with her lessons at college as she was reflecting on what had happened to her older sister the night before. Abner had just had her first relapse. For the previous couple of weeks prior to this, Afia had noticed that her sister had been withdrawn and unmotivated in life. This was something she had noticed 2 years ago, right before her sister was first diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. But this time, it was different. Abner had been physically violent, which led to the police's involvement. Luckily, she was taken into hospital voluntarily to be treated by the clinical medical staff, who would review her prescription and monitor her. Sadly for Afia, she thought the first time her sister fell ill was a one-off. She thought, especially with the help of daily medication, her sister would get back to normal. But now, just as confused as before about the situation, she doesn't know what to expect next, and more importantly, whether she'll ever get her sister back. Miriam, on the other hand, was at Sunday Mass and had been reflecting on how she noticed that her younger brother Carlos had lost his way in life for many years. His odd and erratic behaviour left Miriam bewildered and confused about what was wrong with him. He would lock himself in his room while insisting that aliens were out to get him. Her family blamed his behaviour on her, accusing her of spoiling him and allowing him to get away with mischief. Unfortunately for Miriam, this started to take a toll on her own health. She'd often fall into depression, with the burden of guilt every time she thought of her brother's situation. As for Miriam now, she just wants to know whether something is actually wrong with her brother, and what would be the best way to help him. Maybe in learning this, it'll be a way to bury the guilt she's been feeling throughout the years. Every 6 months, SibiCare reps go out to different boroughs of London to target local GPs to promote their service. In a borough known to have high mental health needs, SibiCare's reps had just finished a workshop in Dr. Sunil's practice in Hackney. As the workshop came to a close, Dr. Sunil was impressed with their proposition, especially as he had always considered that siblings were more likely to play a vital role in the future care of their loved ones. So, he decided to commission the service for a 12-month trial period. He was presented with his very own marketing package, support guidance, and assisted in setting up his profile on the SibiCare portal. This allowed him to upload his expert insights, and he was also offered an online e-visit room to engage and connect with the siblings that joined up. At the back of Miriam's mind, she had always thought that her brother Carlos might have a mental health problem. So after speaking with her counsellor at church, she was recommended SibiCare. Whilst going through the gamified journey packed with videos and stories from other siblings and clinical experts, Miriam discovered she was a sufferer in silence. So she decided to sign up to the platform and consented to have her profile synced to her social media platforms to capture her personality traits. As one of the features, Miriam decided to book an e-visit appointment via Dr. Sunil's Sibi room. After hearing insights into Carlos's behaviour, Dr. Sunil encouraged Miriam to bring him in for a mental state examination. Dr. Sunil was also concerned about Miriam's well-being, as he had been aware of her depression, so he referred her to SibiCare's unlimited CBT sessions. Verity had been actively using SibiCare when it was recommended to her by one of her colleagues at the Mind, City and Hackney branch. So when she came across the SibiCare chatbot on her Facebook Messenger, she decided to use it. Verity had always been curious about what her brother Gavin's medication did, so she decided to consult the SibiBot about it. Within seconds, the bot fed back information from verified sources. Verity was shocked to know that some of Gavin's behaviour wasn't down to his condition, but his medication. This made Verity more curious about his illness. Even though SibiCare had helped Verity understand many of her brother's symptoms, she still remembered how tough it was for her when her brother first relapsed. So after taking part in the mental health first aid course that was recommended to her by SibiBot, she was able to gain more confidence in practically applying these steps to her brother when he showed the signs of a relapse. Based on the experiences she had learned throughout the years, SibiCare had identified Verity as an expert in the field, opening up additional features on her profile. SibiCare recommended that she should share her core insights with other siblings on the platform as an author. To share her knowledge in order to help others make their own informed decisions, Verity decided to create, test, and publish a Sibi map based on her own experiences with her brother's relapse. After sharing her Sibi map within the viewer feature, Afia came across it. Afia had been using SibiCare after seeing it advertised outside her college's student support office and really wanted to understand the reasons for her sister's relapse. So whilst going through the Sibi map, she learnt a number of options that made her reflect on how she could best apply it to her own circumstances. She was overwhelmed with the depth of insights recorded by Verity, and more importantly, that she had found someone who had gone through a similar situation, so she decided to connect with Verity's profile. After receiving a notification that Verity had accepted her invitation to connect, Afia browsed her profile. Luckily, she had found that Verity had shared similar interests, so she decided to reach out to meet up at one of SibiCare's meet-up locations. During the meet-up, she was enlightened by how far Verity had come on her journey with her brother. In order for Afia to understand more about her sister's situation, Verity invited her to accompany her on a course she taught at the Recovery and Wellbeing College, with the benefits to connect to clinical experts and recovering schizophrenics within a co-taught environment. Afia felt liberated. She had seen a different perspective of her sister's condition, and as for her new friendship with Verity, they continued to support each other on their journeys. Within the time of joining SibiCare, Afia's sister Abner had experienced another relapse, but luckily for Afia, she was able to deal with it in her own cohesive way while trying to embrace a new relationship with her sister. All this had encouraged her to give feedback on Verity's Sibi map based on her own approach while dealing with her sister. As for Verity, after taking Afia's feedback on board, she decided to share it with Dr. Sunil so that he could also gain insight into Gavin and how to best engage with him in the future. Miriam's journey, on the other hand, had just begun. After Carlos had been diagnosed, Dr. Sunil continued to monitor her health and referred herself and her family to participate in some intervention sessions under the NHS, where they'd learn about what to expect in the near future.